The House will come to order. Conference reports.
Conference committee report on House File Number 947, an act relating to education finance. The report is addressed to the Honorable Kurt L. Doudt, Speaker of the House, the Honorable Michelle L. Fischbach, President of the Senate. We, the undersigned conferees for House File 947, report that we've agreed upon the items in dispute and recommend as follows. The conference committee report is signed by 4 of the 5 conferees on the part of the House and 4 of the 5 conferees on the part of the Senate. Loon moves that the report of the Conference Committee on House File Number 947 be adopted and that the bill be repassed as amended by the Conference Committee.
I recognize the author, Representative Loon, who will explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Yes, this report addresses the tax bill with some changes, and I'll allow Chair Davids to reference those in a few minutes. But I want to talk about the education funding portion of this that was added in. As we know, Governor Dayton a couple of weeks ago had indicated that a top priority for him was additional funding for our schools. I believe he called it an emergency. And unfortunately, this designation by the governor came after committee deadlines, after our bills had already been reported through the finance committees. Bills were processed to the floor. So, you know, we are all about trying to find common ground with the governor, and we're all about trying to make sure that we're doing the best we can for our schools. So I think what we have before us in this legislation is a true compromise and something we can all get behind. And I think it's something that would be important for all of us to support. So the education portions of the bill, the conference report that we're considering, would be an additional $50 million. And this $50 million would be drawn from the budget reserve and distributed to schools under the school aid apportionment formula in statute 127A-33. And I'll explain what that is in just a moment. So basically, $57.73 for every district and charter schools pupils according to their adjusted average daily membership. This is not formula money, as the governor had suggested, straight up per pupil aid. So not a 90-10 shift either, as the governor has proposed. So all of this funding would go to our schools in September at the start of the fall school year this September. A second portion of this proposal would provide some flexibility with funds that schools already have. Now, in talking about the urgent need for additional funding, the governor has talked about 59 school districts that are having difficulty closing their budgets and making ends meet on their balance sheets. That's 59 school districts out of about 347. And something we have done many, many times in the past to help schools when there's been a bit of a crunch is more flexibility with their staff development set aside. Right now, we require schools to set aside 2% of their basic aid formula for staff development. And that's something I know that we all hold as something that's important. But we have also found it important to offer schools, with a vote of their school board, the ability to have some flexibility and allow those funds to be used for other matters. So we've done this in 2004, 2005, 2010, 2011, and most recently under Governor Dayton. So he did sign these flexibility authorizations into law in 2012 and 13. So for those districts, this additional flexibility is going to help. And I think certainly as districts are making difficult decisions and wanting to retain key teachers and support staff, this kind of flexibility is most certainly welcomed. We have also included language identical to a bill that Representative Dabney introduced, House File 4532, which would authorize community education fund balances to be transferred to the undesignated general fund of a school district if the Commissioner of Education provides approval for that transfer, so that request must be made to the Commissioner, and it must be consistent with the school board's fund balance policy. So if there is a policy that a school board has that those funds must retain a minimum balance, that must continue to be in effect. So as I mentioned, the per pupil funding which we're proposing, the $50 million, which would be $57.73 per school, this is really intended to be compensation for past years in which our school trust funds have not been paying out to our students as they should be, because we have policies and management of school trust lands that has not been maximizing that investment in the best interests of our schools and our children, the beneficiaries of this trust. So as we have school trust lands, there may be public water access sites that have been added to those lands. Citizens may be allowed to hunt or to fish on those school trust lands, and those activities usually require a license. Those license fees are paid by the citizens, but the children are not getting any portion of those fees currently. And the DNR has been tasked with the responsibility of coming up with a valuation for some of those activities and what would be owed. And so this $50 million is really a down payment on some of those things to try to help make that right for the children. And so we're going to allow the current beneficiaries to benefit from that now at this time in the school year. So again, it does not begin to relieve us of the responsibilities of continuing those important efforts with our school trust lands, but it again is an important step and actually directed in legislation that said by July 1st, 2018, we should have a plan proposed. The DNR is to be working on a plan. They've done those valuations. And then is to be conveying that to the legislature for how we start to make that right, how we start to make sure that we are maximizing those investments off those state lands for the benefit of our schools and the trust. So with that, members, those are the education portions, and I would turn it over to Chair Davids to discuss the changes in the tax articles.
Member from Fillmore, Representative Davids.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman or Speaker, and thank you, Chair Loon, for including me in your education bill. This is the tax bill. I'd just like to go through the issues that have changed since it left about a week ago or so. Okay, so there's 6 changes that we made. One is we include Representative Sandsteed's bill having to do with a 100% disabled veteran on some property tax issues. We went with the department's language. We changed it on partnerships, negotiated language on the partnerships. We put some Met Council language in there that has to do with them being able to get lower financing costs. We put in the Minneapolis lodging tax fix, if you will. We removed the craft house language, and we removed the bullion language because it really didn't do what we thought it would do. So that's been removed. We'll have, whoever comes back here next year will have discussions on that issue. So those are the only changes to the tax bill. And Mr. Speaker and members, I'd stand for any questions.
All those in favor of the motion to adopt the conference report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. No. The motion prevails. The clerk will give the bill its third reading as amended by conference.
House File Number 947, third reading as amended by conference.
Third reading. Discussion on the conference report. Member from St. Louis, Representative Sandstead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I just want to talk about one provision in the education portion of this bill. Now it's Sunday, and I'm trying to be very nice, and Representative Murphy guilted me into toning it down a little bit this morning with her lovely prayer. But I'm going to be very direct with you. This 2% is a poke in the eye of educators across Minnesota. The 2% set aside is for staff development, for professional development. I have taught for 25 years. In 25 years, I have had one opportunity for professional development. That one opportunity was a game changer in my career. Last year, we introduced tiered licensure, which says any human being with a degree can now be a teacher. And now we're going to leave it up to school districts how to use that 2%. Maybe they'll get staff development, maybe they won't. Under current law, districts still could do that with the input of their teachers. Under the current provision, you just took the teacher's voice away. I'm not okay with that. I am deeply, deeply offended by that. And I guarantee you, educators across Minnesota feel the same way. I hear it all the time. What is wrong with the legislators? What's wrong with legislation? What do they have against teachers? Why are we doing this? Don't they value us? Of course you value us, but you take our voice away. We know our students best, better than our school boards, better than our administrators sometimes. We know best. We also know what we need for staff development, and we need our voice to be heard when we have an opportunity for professional development. This provision takes it away. That's not good for the teaching profession, and it sure isn't going to be good for students. And here's one more thing, just in case you didn't think I was wound up enough. To couple an education bill with a tax bill is despicable. Our students are not bargaining chips. And I know the governor said, you will not get a tax bill until I get education. Then, let's grow up and have standalone bills and debate this. Our students are absolutely not bargaining chips, and as an educator, as a professional educator, I am deeply offended. You can poke at teachers all you want, but do not use them as bargaining chips over a tax bill.
Member from Hennepin, Representative Loeffler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And members, once again, I need to remind you that this bill ignores most of the people that we represent in terms of meeting their needs for tax cuts, for tax recognition of the costs that they're incurring. We know that property values are going up, taxes are going up, rents are going up, yet this bill doesn't provide property tax relief. 1 out of 8 people, households that we represent, in some of your districts, particularly in rural Minnesota, it's 1 out of 6 households gets the working family tax credit, which rewards work. It's only available to people who go to work to earn wages from someone else. And yet they struggle with increased utility costs, with increased costs of transportation, with increased school fees because we haven't funded our school districts adequately, with the increased cost of childcare. Many of them are sitting on waiting lists, hoping that someday they might get some of the services that they are eligible for. Healthcare costs, we know, have been exponentially growing for everyone, even if you're lucky enough to be covered by an employer plan. But for those people who aren't, healthcare costs with the increasing use of high deductibles is really high. But for most of those people who are working paycheck to paycheck, struggling to balance that budget, trying to be self-sufficient and do the best that they can for their family and their community, they're not in the tax provisions of this bill. Instead, we have corporate tax rate cuts. We even eliminate the corporate AMT to make sure that there's going to be some corporations who've been effective enough in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere to get enough tax breaks that they don't even have to pay taxes. That's why the alternative minimum tax was created in the first place, is because ordinary Minnesotans and people across the country were offended that anybody could get away with being profitable and not paying taxes. But to walk away with a tax bill that spends this much money and doesn't increase the working family tax credit for those hardworking people in every single one of our districts, when you have over $100 million in property tax relief here, I know it was 140 coming off here, it's got to be very close to $140 million. And to not have put any of that into those working families that are working 10, 12, even 15, $20 an hour, struggling to get by, to meet the basics, no assistance for them and any of their ordinary costs of life. Many of them will not qualify for the tax rate cuts, the small cuts in income taxes. We should have had a bill that had the working family tax credit, that had other provisions that really step forward for the kinds of families that we all represent. I urge a vote, no vote.
Discussion on the conference report. Member from Hennepin, Representative Dabney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And would Chair Loon yield for a question?
She will yield. Representative Dabney.
Chair Loon, thank you. I'd like to start by following up on a bit of Representative Sandsteed's point. The 2% professional development, staff development set aside, that's existing money. That's not any new revenue for schools. Schools are currently able to waive that requirement to set 2% aside for staff development, for ongoing professional development for teachers. Can you contrast for the body the process that they need to go through now to waive that money and make that available for whatever purposes they so deem, to the process in this bill to make that money available?
Member from Hennepin, Representative Loon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Representative Dabney. So currently, schools have this flexibility, but they must do it with the assent or agreement of the bargaining unit for the teachers to do that. This would allow the same flexibility that we've done in years past, including one signed by the governor in 2011, to allow the school boards to do that flexibility, and they would be the sole decision maker in that.
Representative Dabney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thinking ahead a bit, Madam, would Chair Loon yield again?
She will. Representative Dabney.
Thank you. Thinking ahead, this is one-time money. Last year, this legislature passed one-time money under your leadership for the voluntary pre-K program, which has been found to be very popular. Also, the research is showing it's the most effective early childhood program for our most vulnerable learners. What happens under this bill to the voluntary pre-K program that was established last year?
Member from Hennepin, Representative Loon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Dabney. Nothing happens to the voluntary pre-K program in the School of Readiness Plus that was authorized last year. It is fully funded through this budget cycle, and decisions on the continuity or continuation of that program will be an item for discussion when the 2021 budget is prepared next year by the next legislature.
Representative Dabney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chair yield again?
She will. Representative Dabney.
Chair Loon, can you remind me, I know there is no funding for special education in this bill, and we've been hearing a rising chorus of voices from school districts across the state, small districts, big districts, greater Minnesota districts, metro area districts, urban districts, about the challenge of funding the special education needs of their students, particularly as many districts are seeing a rising number of children coming forward with a variety of special education needs. So there's no funding that targets those districts, such as Chair Knobloch's St. Cloud district. He came forward with a very interesting proposal this year. There's no funding in this bill for special education, and I'm trying to remember, if you could remind me, last year in the 2017 bill, was there any money dedicated to special education?
Representative Loon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Dabney, well, last year was the budget year, the two-year biennial budget year for all school districts. And yes, absolutely, there was special education funding in that bill, as there is in every budget bill that we do. I don't have at my fingertips the number. I will try to get that number for special education. And that number does go up with every budget cycle. This funding is not, it's going to the schools under safe schools, but with the flexibility of the school boards or actually of the schools to use it for purposes that meet their needs. So that $57.73 for every pupil that the schools are going to receive under this, they can use that to account for special education cross subsidy. They can use it to retain teachers. They can use it to reduce class sizes. They can use it for whatever purposes, again, each individual school and school district deems most important for their students.
Representative Dabney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Madam Chair, I'll stop asking you to yield. But what I heard is last year, no increase in special education funding to match the increased costs that so many school districts across the state are experiencing. Last year, one-time funding for voluntary pre-K and other pre-K programs, school readiness, which means, members, when we come back next year, before we finish our job next May 20, whatever it might be, the school districts will be laying off their voluntary pre-K staff. You can't build a program when you lay the staff off every 2 years because the legislature is unwilling to make a commitment to Minnesota's youngest learners. When the Minnesota legislature, under the GOP leadership, is unwilling again this year to make a commitment to Minnesota students and to Minnesota by investing in those students, whether they be special education students, early childhood students, or any other student in the state. What we see is a series of one-time funding, an unwillingness to make a commitment, and an unwillingness to follow through on what research shows is, in fact, our best investments. We're going back to shifts and gimmicks in the education funding under this bill. We're playing a shell game with school districts where they take from the children in highly trained teachers because we're unwilling to make a commitment to adequately funding the schools. We're seeing rising needs for special education funding, but we're unwilling to make that commitment. We shouldn't go back to shifts and gimmicks. We had plenty of that when Tim Pawlenty was governor of the state. We're still working on digging out of that. Members, I urge a no vote.
Member from Clay, Representative Marquardt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. And last December 22nd, the federal government passed a tax bill. And what was really encouraging is that the governor and House and Senate leadership all came to the same conclusion. Because of that tax bill, we need to do something on the Minnesota side. Otherwise, taxes are going to go up when you go back and fill out your taxes on the Minnesota side of things. And what came out of that agreement by Governor Dayton and the House and the Senate is that we're going to move to the federal adjusted gross income and continue and do our own personal and dependent credits and also our own standard deduction, which really protected a lot of people. We also protected a lot of the deductions. All of the plans have the Section 179 full expensing, which is really going to be beneficial for farmers and small businesses. There's a cash accounting changes that are in the bill also that were also in Governor Dayton's bill and the House and Senate. That's going to be very beneficial to businesses. So for most of this, everyone's pretty much on the same page. There have been some areas of concerns, and Governor Dayton has mentioned these concerns. They've been a concern of mine, and that is targeting tax relief to those hardworking Minnesotans, families, and senior citizens who really didn't do that well in the federal tax bill. And just as an example, in this tax bill, as I mentioned last week, if you've got a family of 4 that is doing the standard deduction, and you're the median household income in Minnesota, that's about $66,000, family of 4, $66,000. The tax cut here with the tax rate cut is about $36. The tax cut is about $36. The governor's plan, that tax cut would have been about $240. And so I still have a big concern that I think we could have done better yet on being able to really target those dollars to those Minnesotans, hardworking families, and senior citizens who really need it the most. And I think we missed an opportunity there. The other concern is in the long-term fiscal stability on things. The rates do phase in, I think, by 2021, but you're not going to see the full impact in this next biennium, and increases into the future. And that's always worrisome. Right now, we are in the largest time of growth since a recession, since the Great Depression. I think we're on the 9 years now. That's time may be coming where we head back into a recession, and if we have over-obligated ourselves into the future, that creates some problems. So I'm hoping with this that we have come to enough of a compromise. I'm hoping that we have done everything possible to make sure that we can get a compromise, to make sure we get this bill in the law. Because if we don't do that, we miss a great opportunity to provide some tax cuts for folks, tax cuts for businesses. But if we don't get a tax bill done this year, if we don't conform, over 300,000 Minnesotans are going to see a tax increase next year when they file their taxes. And I know, in this political body, we tend to start looking if something happens, blame and so forth. Well, the folks back home don't care who's right or wrong or who's to blame. People care about results. They want a higher quality of life, and a good tax bill can do that. So, members, I'm hoping we need a tax bill. I'm hoping we can get a tax bill. I hope we have done enough, because if we've done that and we can secure a tax bill, we're going to raise the quality of life for people around the state of Minnesota. Thank you.
The Minority Leader from Hennepin, Representative Hortman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This Republican legislative majority has shown that they're very good at ignoring the governor. They're very good at fighting with the governor. What they haven't shown any aptitude at all is listening to the governor or compromising with the governor. Commissioner Bowerly sent a 6.5-page letter that was extremely clear about the governor's objection to the tax bill. The governor sent a 3-page letter vetoing the bill. Did you even read those letters? The governor said in those letters he will not sign a tax bill until there is an agreement to provide emergency school funding. Operative word there, agreement. That's where people sit down at a table and come to an agreement, and each side gives a little and walk away from the table knowing what the other person will do. That's how agreement works. This Republican majority keeps taking the approach, we're going to shove it at you, Governor, and see how much you're willing to take. This cram down approach. Why talk when you can try to cram it down his throat? Last year's tax bill freezes the commercial industrial tax rates. We give one-time money for pre-K, one time. We have ongoing tax cuts for corporations out into the future, putting the state's fiscal stability at risk. One-time money for little kids, permanent, ongoing, growing tax cuts for corporations. We come back this year and we scoop right on top of that another addition of permanent, ongoing tax cuts for corporations combined with one-time funding for schools. Here's $50 million, one time. Then it goes away. The priorities are so clear for this Republican majority. Hey, corporations, how much can we do for you? Is there any such thing as enough? We want these tax cuts to grow and to continue. Now, when it comes to kindergartners, and it comes to our school children, and it comes to our teachers, we'll give you a little one-time money. And at all times, and in all ways, we will put bills on the governor's desk. We're trying to cram provisions down his throat. 990 pages of a cram down last night. Now today, a conference committee where his commissioner of taxes, his commissioner of education both testified this is not something the governor is going to find acceptable. So what does the Republican majority do? Do they take the remaining 9 hours and maybe go to a table where we might try to come to an agreement? Or do they send another shove it in your face, cram down bill to the governor? You know, if this session ends in a heap of nothing, it will be because this Republican majority didn't learn the lesson that at some point in time you have to listen to and compromise with the executive branch if you want bills to become laws. Members, please vote no.
The Majority Leader from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members, and thank you, Chair Davids and Chair Loon, for coming up with a fantastic solution to the problem. As we talked about last night, our Republican majority has done an absolute fantastic job under the leadership of Jim Knobloch and the members of the Supplemental Budget Conference Committee and meeting the governor more than halfway. Last night we passed a bill which the committee worked on for more than 2 weeks, 8 hearings, hours and hours and hours and hours of testimony. We worked with the governor, we got feedback. The governor provided us with 116 items that he had problems with, that he either wanted us to delete or revise. A lot of the things he wanted us to get rid of were things that were priorities for us here in the House or for the Senate, but regardless, we jettisoned more than 60% of the things. We met him more than halfway. We got rid of over 70 provisions. We compromised with the governor. We did exactly what the governor asked us to do, but it's not fair that we would throw away all of the concerns and the policy items that the House and the Senate have identified as priorities. Now today, Chair Davids and Chair Loon have put together a second tax bill after we already passed a tax bill with broad bipartisan support that reduced taxes for many, many Minnesotans. The governor vetoed it. That's fine. He had some concerns. So we went back to work. We sent them back to the drawing board. And the governor said, you know what? This was probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. The governor said, we have an emergency situation. He never identified this emergency when he said the State of the State address, never said a word about it. He never put it in his priority book that he sent to us for his budget items. But a couple weeks ago, he said this was a priority. And I understand it's a priority for schools, but to be fair, some of the schools weren't living within their budget. But regardless, we understand it's a problem, and some of the schools are really facing some financial difficulty. But I want to remind everyone that last year, led by Representative Loon, we passed a bill that put almost $500 million of new funding on the formula. Over the last couple of years, we put billions of dollars in new funding to schools. We put more funding in the formula than we have in the past 10 years. And this is still the same biennium, members. This is the second year of the biennium. So while we feel that we've done a very, very, very good job of funding the schools, the governor has identified this as a priority and said that we need to provide this emergency funding for schools. So we sent our chairs back to the drawing board. We said, let's look and see what we can do. What does the governor want? The governor asked for $138 million of additional funding for these schools. And so what did we come up with? We came up with $50 million of new dollars that we can use right now, and it's a responsibility anyway for us to use those trust fund dollars, and we owe it to the students of Minnesota to give them this new money. So I'm sorry if you think $50 million in new dollars that they haven't had before is a poke in the eye after we gave them almost $500 million last year, but I do not believe that that is a poke in the eye in any way. In addition to that, we provided flexibility, and you may not like it. You may want to have that 2% to go to staff development, and I understand that. That is a legitimate use for it. But I will remind you that this is not the first time that happened, and the governor signed legislation in 2011 that did the very same thing. The very same governor, Governor Dayton, signed the very same thing we're doing today. And I will also remind you that the other part of the solution that Chair Loon brilliantly came up with was to be able to transfer some of the money from community education. And guess what? When Democrats controlled the legislature in 2008, they did the very same thing. So for anybody to say that this is somehow a poke in the eye or something that hasn't done before is just plain fallacy. The fact of the matter is that we went back to the drawing board, we put a fantastic tax bill together that reduces rates on the bottom two tiers, the bottom two tax brackets. And that's meaningful reform. Representative Marquardt pointed out some really important things, that if we don't do this, if we don't pass a tax bill, taxes are going to go up on Minnesotans. We need to act. We need to get this tax bill signed into law, and that's why we went and we addressed the governor's additional concerns. And what we have here is a great tax bill that went far and above what he even asked for to make funds available for education. He asked for $138 million, and Representative Loon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this bill would provide about $225 million, more than double of what the governor even requested, to go towards schools. So I would implore Governor Dayton to sign this bill once we pass it, because it's the right thing to do, and we need to get this done, because we need to simplify this so that it's not an administrative nightmare for the governor and his administration to do this, because we need to do it so that we can reduce and not raise taxes on Minnesotans, and so that we can get the emergency funding to the schools that the governor has identified as a priority. With that, members, I strongly encourage a yes vote.
The member from Fillmore, the chairman of the Tax Committee, Representative Davids.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. There have been some things said on this floor that I must address. You know, many of the things that were said are exactly contrary to the truth. Where do I begin? The member from St. Louis with her outrage saying, how could these be linked together? Well, my good friend the governor kind of told us to. He said, no tax bill until an education bill. So I'm just a poor farm boy from Section 28, Sumner Township, Fillmore County, trying to do good things for folks. And if the governor tells me that you do education first and then taxes, I listen to him. I listen to the governor. My good friend Representative Hortman said that Republicans are not listening. the truth is exactly contrary to what she said. What did we listen about? The governor said he didn't want income tax triggers. We listened. That was very important to Senator Chamberlain. A great idea. You'll be hearing about that one next year. The Senate had estate tax provisions. The estate tax is an evil tax. Okay, you build up your estate, you're taxed the whole way, you tip over dead, and we tax you again. That's not very nice. That hurts some people's feelings. A provision very important to me, the Quill decision. I think the Quill decision will be overturned and the state's going to have a boatload of money. What are we going to do with that? Well, I said, let's lower some tax rates when that money comes in. Department didn't like it. I listened. I pulled it out. MNsure language. Governor didn't like it. So what did Uncle Greg do? He listened. And he pulled it out. He listened again. We meet with the commissioner earlier this week. There's some things that the commissioner didn't like in the bill. So I listened. And I pulled them out or corrected them so that they would work for the department. I'm doing so much listening, I can hardly believe it. I'm doing so much listening. And my dear good friend from Anoka or Hennepin or wherever the leader's from, had to say it again, had to get me going, because I listened to her when she said, we're giving corporations tax breaks. We are not. Now, Representative Loeffler, she was a little sneakier on the way she phrased that. You were correct. There is a section where they do get some rate cuts, but there is, in net overall, they're getting pounded. Shame on me. Corporations are paying more in taxes, not in less. So members, I've listened. The department came in as late as yesterday and wanted to rewrite the whole bill. Oh, but I'm being unreasonable because I'm not going to sit there in a few hours and rewrite the whole bill. But I did listen. So members, Chair Marquardt is exactly right. We have to get a tax bill passed, or you will be responsible. Governor Dane's a great guy. He's a great guy. I think he's reasonable, and when he sees the situation we're in, where if he doesn't sign the bill, for sure, immediately 300,000 Minnesotans are going to have tax increases. If he signs the bill, 98.8% are held harmless. The governor said he wanted to go from FTI to AGI. I listened. We put it in the bill. The governor said he wanted to fully fund Section 179. Uncle Greg listened, everybody's favorite uncle. He listened, and he put it in the bill. So don't tell me Republicans don't listen. Please, vote green.
The offer of the conference report, the Chair of the Education Finance Committee from Hennepin, Representative Loon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And well, we should have switched the order of that. Thanks, Uncle Greg. You did a good job. But the chair of the Education Finance Committee listens too. And I listened carefully to discussion today, and I listened carefully to the governor and to what he has wanted, what his priorities have been communicated, whether they came in his budget package, which I was happy to author and introduce, and provided the basis of many things we did in our Education Finance Committee, as well as his policy priorities. I was happy to introduce the governor's Safe Schools package, and most of his ideas are the same ideas that were in the Safe Schools package that we passed off this House floor last night in the Omnibus Conference Committee report. In fact, there's more stuff in there than what the governor had provided funding for, both in FY19 and in the tails. Yeah, I wish the tails had been bigger, but you know what? We'll do that next year. A really good package. You know, a couple of things were said that I've just got to respond to. We have tried really hard to be responsive to the concerns of the governor, and I am all about communication. But when this emergency money came up, there was no bill from the governor that came to me as the chair of the Finance Committee to introduce for him as a courtesy, which I have always done and happy to do. No communication, no phone call, no meeting. Until yesterday, I've not been invited to one meeting with the governor over his education priorities for this year. Not one. Not one. You can say what you will about me or what I've done as chair, but I don't think I'm an unapproachable person. I try to work with everybody. I do my very best to meet as many requests as I can, and I'm good for my word. Representative Dabney, I know that special education is a discussion that is of concern to our school districts. And Representative Knobloch had brought an idea forward that we just didn't have the money for. And we're going to have a special education task force to talk about that, but you cannot say we're not providing more funding for special education in this budget than we did last year. It's $406 million more in this biennium than we spent last biennium in special education. So that's absolutely not true. $406 million is a lot of money. And we're doing that to help provide for the education of our special education students. I know that we've got shortfalls. I know that we have cross-subsidy, and we're going to continue working on that. But with that $57.73 a student of new money that we're providing in this bill, that's going to go a long way towards helping school districts if they want to use that for their cross-subsidy to help reduce that. For Minneapolis schools, that's over $2 million. $2,043,746 they're going to get under this proposal, just under this proposal. And with the community fund balance transfer, which is your bill, word for word in this proposal, that could be another, well, I know there's $5.5 million in that fund balance for Minneapolis. Whether they would seek to take it all or not, I couldn't say. But some additional flexibility that I know you want, and that I have fought really hard to try to help the Minneapolis School District well. It was in our House bill. We had a little struggle over keeping it in the conference committee, but we eventually prevailed. And I am happy to have been part of that. Happy to have done it. And we talk about the 2% staff development set aside. You know, you can denigrate it all you want, but this is something we have done before to help schools through a rough patch, and this governor has been one of the ones to help do that. Now, I suspect that of the 343 school districts, maybe only the 59 that are having budget troubles might consider that, because the others do not have a problem with their budgets. They are balanced, they're in good shape. They probably aren't going to consider that. And the other 59 might. They might do some of it, they may do none of it. All we're saying here is give them the option. And I suspect a teacher may prefer to know that they're going to keep their job for another year. They may have to miss a staff development opportunity in exchange for that. I suspect. Now, finally, there's been some outrage expressed over using children as bargaining chips for the tax bill. And I can't agree more. You know, the other day when we had a little break in the action, I turned on my computer and watched the governor's press conference on vetoing the tax bill. And there he was at an elementary school, surrounded by second graders, urging them to chant 1, 2, 3, veto. Let's talk about using kids as bargaining chips. I've been to Bruce Vento Elementary School. It's a wonderful school. Their principal and staff are doing amazing things. I couldn't say more about the terrific things going on at that school. But you want to talk about politicizing kids in the wrong way. I can tell you there's a lot of people calling that school, expressing concern about that. So let's just agree right now, that is the wrong way to do this. So now we all got that off our chests. Let's focus to the task at hand. So the governor's talking about $138 or $124 million for schools for fiscal year 19. And in talking to the governor yesterday, again in that first meeting I was invited to, he said to me, we were standing together talking, that the Safe Schools money, the Safe Schools package, he is counting towards that tally. Okay, that was the first I had heard of that, since we had not had a conversation. So $28 million for Safe Schools passed, House and the Senate, on its way to the governor as part of that omnibus. And if you have a pencil, you can write this down and keep track for yourselves. Today, $50 million of new money. So 28 and 50. Before we adjourn, I suspect we're going to take up the bonding bill. Hope we will. $25 million for Safe Schools, for facility upgrades for our schools. $25 million. Talked to Chair Erdahl. It's in there. We had to do a little work on the Senate, but it's in there. Add those up. That's $103 million of new money for schools. That doesn't even touch the flexibility we're offering. How much is involved in staff development? 2% for 1 year? $125 million. This legislature, this House, this Republican caucus is committed to our schools, committed to our children. And we have worked really, really hard to try to help meet those needs, to try to meet the demands of the governor, and have stepped forward over and over again to do so. And I say this sincerely, Governor, I hope you're listening. We have listened. We want this to work. We want this to be possible for our schools. So let's all swallow our pride over what we really wanted and thumped our chests over and had to have, and recognize that we've all come a long ways towards meeting in the middle. Let's get this done. Members, please vote for this bill.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the conference report. The clerk will close the roll. Mariani votes no. Dean R. votes no. There being 85 ayes and 42 nays, the bill is repassed as amended by conference and its title agreed to. The member from Fillmore, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of personal privilege, Mr. Speaker.
State your point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to read a House resolution for two very distinguished gentlemen in our presence. A House resolution commending Joel Michael and Steve Hines for receiving the 2018 Legislative Staff Achievement Award. Whereas Joel Michael and Steve Hines began working in the research department of the Minnesota House of Representatives in 1976, and I will yield to Chairman Marquardt.
Representative Marquardt.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And whereas Joel and Steve have provided invaluable expertise in the areas of tax law and policy to innumerable tax committee chairs, members, and others in their 42-year careers. And Mr. Speaker, I would like to yield to Representative Hortman.
Representative Hortman.
Whereas Joel and Steve are highly respected by the Department of Revenue's professional staff, counties, cities, school districts, businesses, and all Minnesotans who understand and follow the making of tax laws, now therefore, and I yield to Majority Leader Pepin.
Representative Pepin.
Be it resolved by the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration of the House of Representatives of the State of Minnesota that it congratulate Joel Michael and Steve Hines on being recipients of the 2018 Legislative Staff Achievement Award by the National Association of Legislative Fiscal Offices of the National Conference of State Legislatures. Signed, Kurt Daudt, Speaker of the House, myself, Joyce Pepin, Chair of Rules and Legislative Administration, and Melissa Hortman, Minority Leader. Please join me in congratulating them on this awesome award.
Member from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move a recess of the chair of approximately 45 minutes, and Republican members, we will caucus.
The member from Pope, Representative Anderson P.
Mr. Speaker, sorry I was late, but members of the Ag Policy Committee will be meeting at 20 after 4 in room 10 of the SOB. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. DFL members will also caucus immediately.
Representative Pepin moves a recess to the call of the chair for approximately 45 minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails. The House stands in recess to the call of the chair until approximately 5 o'clock.